Crown, I guess just talk about your group so far this preseason, what you've seen out of them.
Well, I'll tell you, the biggest things that you see in them is that they're competing. And, it's on the way. We're going to have a chance to compete at a high level, man. We got to come out every day, and we got to be competitive. And I love their demeanor in the classroom in terms of preparation. And I love the way they got on the field and compete. Are we making mistakes? Yeah. Do we have things we got to clean up? Yes. But the effort and the competitive level is something that you want to see the guys do every day. And other things you can correct and clean up. So we're really happy with the way they're competing, and we got to increase that.
When we talked with you in the spring, you said physical tools for somebody like JC, it's obviously all there. Still had to develop a little bit. We've heard so much about him and the strides he's taken this preseason. What have you seen out of him that have allowed him to step into a bigger role?
Okay. See, I think I forgot everything about the spring, but it's a sign of age. But JC is having a really good camp, man. And, it's amazing. You have to remind yourself that, every year they're going to get better and better because they're older. And I think he's maturing in football. And he asks meaningful questions now. He's more engaging. And you can see it shows up on the field. And the biggest thing with him is that you have to continue to coach his confidence up, man. But he's having a really good camp, and you can look in his eyes and tell that he's believing in himself. And with that length and that speed, I tell him all the time, you get your hands on somebody, you can run with anybody. So it's really, really good to see him maturing and turn the corner and to put himself in a position to help us play at a high level. So really happy with his progression in camp.
When you evaluated the scrimmage from your group, what were the things that stood out?
Well, the thing that stood out, first of all, is that we got to be better down the field. We got to do a better job of, getting down the field, turning and playing the ball and taking it away. The other biggest thing that stood out is that we better tackles on the perimeter. I know a portion of it, wasn't live. There was a portion that was live, but even when you have the plays where you're not going to the ground, you want to see them have the play speed where they get in position to make the tackle. And those are the two biggest areas of improvement coming out of scrimmage that we need to target and address is, just finishing at the top of the route, leaning and locating and finding the ball and not being so busy at the top of the route with an upper body and actually turn and play the ball. And then let's support the run. I tell them all the time, you have to earn the right to get an interception. And how you do that, you have to stop the run. And the receiver's going to catch the ball, in the short area, in the medium, but you got to go get them. Great defenses, they'll get them down and get them to play the next play. And so those are two areas that we have to improve in. But I like the mental mindset. We're not making a lot of mental mistakes, but we got to clean up the effort in those two areas and the finishing in those two areas.
You got a guy or two that's brought it every day at camp so far?
Say it again now.
You have a guy or two that has brought energy and productivity every day during camp?
Well, that's the one biggest thing that we have to do as an overall group, man, just be consistent. And we have some guys that, that's going to bring the energy, that's going to be excited. But you want to you got to stack those days back to back. And, we're not guilty right now having a lot of guys that have done that on a consistent basis. Do you see it? Yes. Ken Lee, he brings it, but you want him to bring it not just every day, but every play. And we have to strain a little bit more. We have those plays where coach puts us in tough positions where, we on an 8-9 play drive. We got to see those guys strain. But he's done a great job of trying to push himself, and bringing it. Crawford's done a good job of that. J.C. Hart, they're competing. The whole group is competing, but there's a lot of room, for improvement in that regards. And that is the biggest thing, man. Who's going to bring it day in and day out? Who's going to be consistent?
In that secondary group, how important has a guy like Jaron Thompson been for the overall group because of his experience and coming in and taking on kind of that vocal role?
Well, you take a veteran guy like him that's got, wealth of experience, man, and he's got a great personality, really confident, and it's really been healthy. It's really been healthy because I always believe that great defense is the Lord's defense, and he don't mind making checks, and he communicates well. He almost getting to the point where he's going to be that coach on the grass, and that's what you need. So it's a blessing that Coach Kelly was able to bring him in, and he's done a good job of helping us on the back end, especially when the young guys on the grass. And he gets on them about communicating. Hey, don't just have to communicate. Let's talk. And that, which is good. So he's definitely doing a great job communicating and provide some leadership. So that's very critical, especially on the back end. Because I tell them all the time, guys, we protect the most second precious thing on the football field. The first is the quarterback. The second is that goal line. We can't let nothing get behind us on the ground and air. We got to keep everything in front. And the way to do that is communicate and be on the same page, eliminate mental mistakes, and eliminate missed tackles.
How beneficial is it to have that receiver corps for you guys to be going against?
Well, it depends if they're gonna get me fired in practice. But it is a huge benefit that we get an opportunity to see guys like that day in and day out, and that has really raised our competitive level because I know we haven't played a game yet, but in this building, those guys are household name, their locker room name. Everybody want to know what Perry's lining up, where's Cam lining up, and they go out there and they compete against each other. And it's great to see that the look in both of their eyes, both the receivers and the DB, and one-on-one, just the way to get up and look at each other and where they compete. So it's been a huge benefit to have that. So that way you're just not seeing it on Saturdays, you're seeing it during the week.
Sorry if you already asked, but how beneficial was the playing time that the champ got last year, considering how important they're going to be to this first team?
That's huge. I mean, you cannot put any value on playing experience. And you can see it, man. It's like we talked about JC earlier. You can see Champ, man. His mustache got a little bit thicker. You can see him communicate. You can see his physicality increase. And the biggest thing you see a lot of people talk about is confidence level. Last year you look at Champ and he make a mistake and you would see the confidence kind of when you have to pick him back up. But he'll look back at you now and say, hey, I got it. And that's where the experience comes in at. They're not afraid to make a mistake, but they can forget and move on to the next play. So it's real huge for him to have that playing experience, especially on the confidence level. And now that gives him a better chance of problem solving on the back end.
Who else is part of the plan inside along the chain? The slot corner, inside corner. Who else are we working with?
Well, I know we've been in camp for a while. We're relatively young in camp right now in terms of days. And, we still have quite a ways to go, but we have a handful of guys that have position flexibility. And the one thing that we're definitely doing on the back end is that we have a lot of meetings together because we do have guys with position flexibility. You got Foster can go inside, of course, Champ there. You got Keon taking that slide inside, Crawford that's going to double train. So we have a handful of guys that we're training that can go inside and play that spot. But of course, we haven't finalized who's going to do that yet. But there's a lot of guys getting time on task for it.
What have you seen from Antonio Kite since he's arrived and now, through first week or two of fall camp?
Learning how to practice. He's really learning, that every place matters. He's really learning how important it is to play at a high level. And again, he's an older guy, very athletic, got great length. He's probably one of the most athletic guys I've been around. But he's got to learn how to play the game really, really fast. And there are times when we play fast, you look at him like, man, that's the Antonio Kite I want to see. So, we got to continue to coach him in that manner. And I think every day he learns more and more how important it is for him to have play speed and just play it on the field. Because, when he run and get in position with this length, athleticism, he gives himself a chance to take the ball away.
How did he grade out the scrimmage? It seemed like he was kind of a problem in a good way from your perspective.
Wait, say it again now.
How did he grade out from the scrimmage? It seemed like he was competing pretty hard that day.
Yeah, like again, you look at the tape, man. There's always, things we clean. Coaches are never satisfied. We're never satisfied,
Yeah.
but there were some bright spots. The biggest thing that he has to clean up is tackling. And then, like I said, he plays speed. But there were some good things that we're going to build off of and clean up things that he didn't do well. But, man, I'm glad that we have him in the building, and he will have a chance to help us.
With Keontae having missed a few days, do you feel like maybe that could be a silver lining for guys like JC and Antonio who are able, like in the scrimmage, were able to grab a lot of those first team reps?
Well, it's good that they got some rest. We need to hurry and get him back out there, but it's always a benefit, and I've always looked at things at the positive side of things, and you're spot on. You're spot on, and when you're in those situations, it's really good. It's healthy for younger guys and guys that are down the roster, if you will, to get those valuable reps. And so, yes, it's been a huge benefit, for those guys to be able to get those reps in that moment.
Clem, how important is it to you to be a mentor to some of these young men off the field, and why is that important to you?
Well, it's really important because I'm a firm believer that the better relationship that you have with your players, the harder you can coach them. And I think that the better that you can remind them that I'm a human being coaching football, and a lot of players don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. And having that relationship, being a mentor to them away from the game, man, it's huge. Because unfortunately, a lot of these guys, the coaches are the only heavy boys they're gonna hear a lot. And then these young men away from home, And it's bigger than just football, man. It's about life. And right now, the landscape of college football is changing. And so these guys need more mentoring, more advice now from coaching more than anything. And that's one of the charges that the head coach, Coach Freeze, charges with. Is capture the heart and minds of our players. And he just doesn't mean on the field. And if you're in your office and your players are not coming by your office to see you, something's wrong. So you got to forge that relationship, and it's really, really critical that you be a mentor to them because they're gonna listen to somebody, and you rather them listen to you than listen to some random person. So that's really critical this day and age.
Going back to JC, I think you kind of alluded to maybe some of this, but is there a moment in particular, whether it's on or off the field, that sticks out to you where you really saw that confidence in him kind of start to bud a little bit more?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you one of my favorite plays were, we were doing red zone and we just talked about, you get the short motion and go in and play top and you talking about he got down in the stands, communicated pre-snap, and the receiver went in motion. You can just feel the confidence coming off of him. I mean, he goes in the top, and then the receiver ran out cut, and he broke on it. I'm like, yeah, he's growing up. He's growing up. So that was a huge moment. And then there was, several deep balls where you could see him use his length, to explode and shoot through the route. So he's had some moments where you say, this guy's not different. And he's a lot different from what he was last year. Yeah.
Amon had a couple tough plays in the scrimmage. You kind of put your arm around him and kind of cheer him up after that one?
Well, I tell them all the time, I'm not advocating that anybody get beat, but if you play DB, you never got beat, you never got in the game.
Right.
So, I mean, you better coach them up after that situation. And, like they asked me one day, what is one thing I'm blessed to have, and I said adversity. And that's an adverse moment. I understand that. And so as you just said, in those moments, that's when you want to put your arm around him. And I'll tell you the best thing about him, he going to look you right in your eyes. He going to expect you to tell him exactly what he did wrong. But at that point, I mean, everybody in the stadium knows you just got beat. Let's build his confidence up. And then we'll get him in the meeting room and get it cleaned up. So you're spot on.